My sister demanded I fund her daughter's birthday party. When I refused, my parents called me heartless and threatened to kick me out. So I showed them every dollar I'd paid for them and walked out on my own. I'm 34. Older brother by 4 years. The steady one. The guy who files receipts and labeled envelopes and keeps a spreadsheet for everything from utilities to socks. I work as an auditor. My superpower is asking boring questions until the numbers tell the truth. My coworkers joke that I can smell a missing decimal from across a conference room. That's not a joke. I can live alone in a small one-bedroom above a dry cleaner. The place always smells faintly like starch. I don't mind. I keep my kitchen like a sample budget. Simple, predictable, nothing fancy. I prepare meals on Sundays. I bring my own coffee Monday through Friday. I like rules. I like that rules don't get offended when you follow them. My family rules are optional. We grew up in a ranch house where the TV was always on, and mail lived in a pile near the fruit bowl. Mom is warm, loud, a hug that comes with a to-do list. Dad is a fixer when it's his idea, allergic to planning when it's yours. My younger sister Bella is sparkle and momentum. She makes everything a moment. She used to turn cereal into a performance. The camera loves her. People love her. Bills do not. Since college, I've been the fallback. The ride from the airport, the guy who reads the lease, the emergency contact, the one who knows how to talk to banks. At 25, I found out how to talk to banks. Actually meant puts his name on things. That's a later part of the story. On a Tuesday night in March, I was in my apartment with a casserole cooling on the counter and a basketball game on mute. I was marking up a client's expense sample with a yellow highlighter. The dry cleaner downstairs clanged a rack. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Bella. First a photo, a ballroom with chandeliers, like upside-down frozen fountains, gold chairs, a DJ booth, then a picture of a sweeping white and silver gown on a mannequin. Then a cake and a screenshot with a price tag in the corner. $700. Her text followed. Send me $7,200 for Maya's Sweet 16. Then a confetti emoji. Then a pink heart. I stared at the screen like it was a magic trick I was supposed to applaud. She sent another photo before I could answer. A mock-up of an invitation with cursive letters and the date. The caption read, "It's happening." The game clock on the TV ticked. The casserole popped once as it cooled. Outside, a bus hissed by. I put the phone face down, then flipped it back over because ignoring things is not my way. I typed, "What?" She replied with 3 bubbles in quick succession. "Ballroom deposit is due tomorrow. We want a string quartet during cocktail hour. It'll be so special, Gary." I held the phone. I didn't send money. I didn't send a speech. I just sat there in my quiet kitchen with my boring dinner and the smell of starch and thought. Here it is again, the glitter invoice. I typed a single sentence and erased it. I set the phone face down again. I breathed. My rule is I don't make money decisions while annoyed, but the words were already forming in the back of my throat like a fuse burning. I knew what I was going to say. I also knew what was going to come after. I picked the phone back up. My thumbs hovered. I thought about the last 18 months. I thought about the store card. I thought about the emergency that bought shoes. I thought about being told I was ruining the vibe by mentioning budgets. I thought about a 16-year-old who is kind to me and who deserves a celebration that won't wreck anyone's year. I tapped 3 words. I didn't hit send? Not yet. The dry cleaner shut off their lights. My upstairs neighbor's faucet squealed like a tea kettle. The moment sat there quiet and sharp. I knew once I sent the words everything at home would tilt. I put the phone down. I cleaned my plate. I washed the pan. I answered 2 work emails. Then I picked the phone again, unlocked it, and let the words go. 10 minutes later, my dad's name lit up my screen, and that's where everything started to burn. This part is boring if you like chaos. It's how I get my balance back. A ledger is not love, but love without a ledger eats you. 19. Bella wants to go to a summer arts program. Tuition shortfall $600. It's for her future, mom says. I pay the gap. Bella sends heart emojis and a blurry photo of a paint-splattered canvas. Worth it, I tell myself. Investment. 21. Dad's truck needs brakes. I'll pay you Friday, he says. Friday is a weather system that keeps getting delayed. $420 not paid. 23. Mom calls crying about overdraft fees. I go to the bank on my lunch break. I talk to a manager. I get $150 in fees reversed and add alerts to her account. I bring Mom a notebook labeled Bills, draw columns, show her how to write due dates. She uses it for 2 weeks. It disappears into the fruit bowl pile. 24. Bella starts a small home bakery business. I buy labels and a thermal printer for $178 because I love her energy and I believe in containers. She sells cupcakes for 3 weekends, posts pretty photos, then stops when it gets hard. The printer lives in a closet. I try not to feel stupid every time I see it. 25. Dad asks me to co-sign a refinance for a better rate. I say no. He says, be a man. I say being a man means not saying yes to everything. He doesn't talk to me for 10 days. 26. Mom signs up for a store card at checkout. It arrives at my apartment because the address on the application is confused. I didn't apply. I called. I closed it. We have a long, quiet Sunday dinner. She tells me I'm cold. I tell her I'm protecting my credit. We both cry into the salad. 28. Bella's rent is late. She moved out with her boyfriend because we need our own space. I front $900 with the sentence, "This is the last time." It is not. She breaks up with the boyfriend 3 months later and moves back home. The rent money never boomerangs. 30. Dad texts, emergency. The emergency is cable got cut. He needs $180 until Thursday. Thursday never comes. The cable returns in 2 hours, and so do the football games. I start calling his asks. Panics, not emergencies. It helps me say no more often. 31. Mom's birthday dinner for 19 people at a restaurant that spells steak with 3 adjectives per cut. The bill hits the table and everyone looks at me like I'm the cashier. I put down my card because watching the slow-motion scramble physically hurts me. I drive home nauseous and mad at myself. I promise I won't be the default wallet again. 32. Bella's daughter Maya is 12 and bright and kind. She draws me comics of Uncle Gary the spreadsheet superhero. I frame one and keep it above my desk. It's the best thing on my wall. I start a small $529 plan with my name on it and $25 a month because future-leaning love is the only kind that doesn't rot. In between a million small drafts gas money, just this once, a phone upgrade for safety. They will pay you back after the refund hits. Payback is a myth in our house. Gratitude is real. Gratitude is warm and heavy. Gratitude does not pay the am. The worst part isn't the money, it's the tilt. If I bring home a bonus, Dad says don't brag. If Bella posts a selfie with a caption about hustling, Mom comments 12 hard eyes. When I say no, I'm told I'm making everything about money. When they say yes to themselves, it's self-care. It makes me sound bitter. I didn't start bitter, I started practical. Bitterness grew like mold on the practical when I kept being told my no was cruelty and their want was need. I started therapy last year because my chest was tight all the time and my jaw ached from clenching while I said no problem to problems that weren't mine. The therapist asked, "What do you want?" I said, "To stop being the family's overdraft protection." She said, "That's a boundary." I said, "Boundaries get you exiled." She said, "Sometimes exile is a healthy distance." So I tried. I wrote a list titled Policy. Item 1, no co-signing. Item 2, no lending to cover previous lending. Item 3, gifts are planned, not extracted. Item 4, I don't negotiate via tears or threats. Item 5, if I feel panic in my body. I wait 24 hours before replying. It worked half the time. Then Bella's text about the Sweet 16 landed like a test I knew I was supposed to fail. Here's the context. Bella has big taste and small follow-through. She loves entrances. She loves moments. She also believes that if you make something big enough, someone will step in and make the numbers work. Historically, that someone is me. She sent the ballroom photo again, then a photo of a tiara, then a floral arch. It's not just a party, she typed. It's a once-in-a-lifetime. I stared at the phone and saw a math problem dressed like a dream. The total wasn't $7,200. The total was $7,200 plus all the other times the glitter invoice had come to my door. I typed 3 words. I erased them. I typed them again. I press send. Get a job. Silence. Then the three dots. Then nothing. Then my dad. Pay or get out of this family. It wasn't about a party anymore. It never is. It was about their favorite equation. Love equals money. And if you challenge the math, you're the villain. I sat on my couch with the game on mute and my casserole cooling and stared at the text like it was a fire behind glass. I felt the old panic rising. Fix it. Smooth it. Be the good one. Don't make noise. Then I pictured Maya's comic on my wall. Uncle Gary with a cape shaped like a pie chart. I heard my therapist. What does protecting yourself sound like? It sounded like a sentence I had never said out loud to my family. I whispered it to the empty room first. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. It felt like flipping a breaker back to its rightful position. That night I opened a fresh spreadsheet and titled it Family Account Gary to Parents plus Bella. Then I opened my text thread and said what I needed to say, and that's when the house lights came up and everyone started shouting. The group chat started at 8:02 p.m. Family Mom named it as if that would keep it from cracking. She added me. Dad, Bella, Mom. Gary, your sister is stressed. Be kind. Dad, you don't talk to your sister like that. Bella, wow, really, to your niece. I typed slowly. I love Maya. I'm not paying $7,200 for a party. Dad called immediately because he hates the slowness of text when he's in a fight. I answered because ducking calls is gasoline. Hey, he said no. Hello, no breath or don't bother showing up here again. Dad, I said, keeping my tone level. That's abusive. Abusive? He laughed high and offended. You're the one withholding from your own blood. I'm withholding from bad decisions, I said. Bad. He sputtered. It's a sweet 16. It's an event you can't afford, I said. A nice one, sure, but a luxury. Bella took the phone. I could hear her breathing. I thought you love Maya. I do, I said. I want her to have a special day that doesn't involve me subsidizing a ballroom and a $700 cake. It's not just cake, she snapped. It's a design. Exactly, I said. Mom grabbed the phone. I could hear her organizing her voice the way she organizes a kitchen drawer by pushing everything to the back and calling the front neat. Gary, we didn't raise you to be cruel. You raised me to help. I said I'm helping by not funding a mistake. Everything with you is math. She said, where is your heart in Maya's college account? I said, where her future lives. Silence. Then Dad again, voice low like a threat whispered at a dog. If you don't pay, don't come to the party. Don't come to this house. Don't call us. You're out. I felt my pulse in my teeth. Are you sure you want to say that I asked? Say what? He sneered. That money is the ticket to family, I said. That's your position. His silence was an answer. I could have begged. I could have said, I'll pay part. I could have tried compromise with someone who had already decided ransom was a parenting technique. Instead, I looked at the fresh spreadsheet on my laptop, at the numbers I'd begun to enter, at the line I'd drawn at the bottom, with the word, closed in caps, I hadn't yet earned. Okay, I said. Here's what's going to happen. I'm sending you a document in the morning. It's a statement of what I've paid over the last 10 years. Gifts are gifts, loans are loans. Everything else is pressure. I'm zeroing that out. Effective immediately. I am not your bank. I will not fund this party. I will not co-sign anything. I will not discuss money with you. Dad laughed again, but this time it sounded less like power and more like air leaving a balloon. You think you're special because you have a decent job? No, I said. I think I'm a person with a boundary. Bella cried a high, shocked noise. I have known since she was 5. You're choosing money over your niece. I'm choosing her future over your party, I said. I'll gladly pay for community college textbooks when she needs them. I'll buy her driving lessons. I'll match whatever she earns at a part-time job for a used car. I will not buy chandeliers. You'll regret this, Mom said. Same words I've heard after every no. One day we won't be here. That day is exactly why I can't bankrupt myself for a cake, I said. She exhaled hard into the receiver. You're so cold. I'm precise, I said. There's a difference. Send the document, Dad said, mocking. Let's see your little report. It's not little, I said. It's 10 years. I hung up before the next round. My hands were shaking and my shoulders felt like they'd been lifted to my ears for a year. I wrote the letter. I kept it simple. I will not fund, cosign, or guarantee any debts. I will not be pressured or threatened into paying for luxuries. Any attempt to open credit in my name will be handled by law. I love you, and the answer is no. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. At midnight, I finished the spreadsheet. I rounded down. I removed petty lines so no one could say I was being dramatic. The total still made my stomach drop. $41,870 over a decade in bridges emergencies, missed reimbursements, and events where the check found me like a heat-seeking missile. At 12:17 a.m., I emailed the PDF to the family thread and CC my own non-family account because of the auditor's document. I slept badly, a shallow, jittery twilight instead of rest. By 7:30 the next morning, my mom was at my door. She had the printout in one hand and the expression of someone who has finally decided to make a scene. She looked at the bottom line. She looked at me. Her mouth worked around a sentence. She sat down without asking, and then, in a motion both familiar and unreal, she slumped and fainted. I caught her head before it hit the arm of the chair. My father would later say I planned it that way, as if gravity and truth were my accomplices, as if a boundary were a trap. I didn't call an ambulance. I did the practical things. Feet up, cool cloth, speak gently. She came around in 30 seconds, blinking, looking suddenly small in my very average chair. "Gary," she said, confused. "I'm here," I said. "You fainted." She looked at the paper in her hand as if it might bite her. "You made a list of every little thing." "I removed the little things," I said. "These are just the ones you promised to pay back. I'm zeroing them. I'm closing our financial relationship." She stared at the word closed like it was an insult sung off key. "How dare you, Mom?" I said softly. "How dare you make my membership in the family a bill?" She stood up too quickly and had to sit down again. "Your father will be furious." I've already heard his version. I said right on cue. My phone buzzed with a text from Dad. "Monster." Then another. "We are done." Then a voice message I didn't listen to for an hour because I wanted to hear my own thoughts first. Bella's texts came in waves. "Are you happy now Maya is crying? I hope you feel big." My thumbs hovered. I typed erased, typed again. My therapist's voice in my head. "Say what you're doing, not what they're doing." I wrote, "I won't pay for the party. I will contribute $500 to Maya's education fund if you open one by Friday." Then I hit send. Silence for a long minute. Then "keep your blood money." Then 5 minutes later, what's a $529? I sent a link. She left me on read. Mom finally stood without wobbling. She smoothed the paper. She folded it into a too-tight square. "You're not the person I thought you were," she said. "I am." I said, "I'm just done paying to be him." She left without touching me. The door clicked. My apartment felt huge and airless. I made coffee. I sat at my table with a mug between my hands so I wouldn't text out of heat. I listened to Dad's voicemail when my hands were steady. "You did this to your mother," he said. "You always were a cold fish. Don't come here. Don't call us. Don't use our name to make yourself feel important." I saved it. Documentation. At 9:05 a.m., my boss called. "You good?" he asked. "You're usually on early." "I had a family thing," I said. "Take the morning," he said. Then after a pause, "Take the day." I didn't. Work is where the numbers behave, where I need that when the people don't. By lunch, my aunt had called to choose sides gently. "Your mother is devastated," she said. "This party is a big deal. She can have a big deal." I said she can't send me the invoice. "Family helps," she said. "I've helped for a decade." I said, "Now I'm helping me." She made the disappointed noise. "You know you sound like a banker." "I am an auditor," I said. "I count because no one else will." In the afternoon, my credit monitoring pinged. A hard inquiry from a store in a mall I haven't visited in years. I called immediately. "We have a new application under your name," the rep said. "Close it," I said. Fraud co-applicant? She asked. Your sister's name appears. Close it, I repeated, and flag my file. I sent the confirmation to the family thread with one line. Do not attempt to open credit in my name. Any future attempts will involve the police. Dad replied, stop threatening us. I typed, stop stealing from me. Then I deleted it and wrote, this isn't a threat. It's a boundary. At 3:00 p.m., my therapist squeezed me into a video slot. I sat with my laptop balanced on a stack of audited binders and told her about the fainting, the voicemail, the mall card. What does your body feel like? She asked. My jaw hurts, I said. My stomach feels electric. What is your rule today? She asked. I don't make decisions to fix their feelings, I said. I make decisions to protect my future. She nodded. Say it to them. I already did, I said. They heard betrayal. That's not yours to translate, she said. I wrote it on a sticky note and stuck it to the corner of my monitor, not my translation. Over the next week, the family chat was a storm. Mom sent photos of cake designs with the caption, "Never mind, we'll do sheet cake," followed by a crying emoji. Bella posted to Facebook a vague status about some people choosing money over love. Friends commented with praying hands. Dad updated his profile photo to one of him and Maya smiling as if to say, "We're fine without you." I did boring things that felt like sandbags against a flood, froze my credit, removed my parents as authorized users on an old card I had forgotten they were on, changed passwords, updated emergency contacts at work. It all felt clinical and small and necessary. Then something shifted. On day 9, Bella texted, "How do I open that education thing?" I sent the link again. She called 30 minutes later. "Walk me through it," she asked, voice flat, exhausted. "Okay," I said. "On one condition, we are not talking about the party." "Fine," she said. We set up the account. She put in $25. I put in $500. It wasn't a truce. It was a wire laid under the yard. On day 12, Mom texted, "I made soup. Can I drop some off?" I said yes with a rule, no party talk. She came by, hugged me briefly, set the Tupperware on the counter, touched the edge of one of my spreadsheets like it might tell her a secret, and said, "Your father is stubborn." It was the closest to an apology I have seen in my family. I said, "I know." On day 15, Dad called. I let it ring once and picked up on the second out of old reflex. "Your mother fainted," he said, weirdly cheerful, like he discovered my kryptonite. "You happy?" "No," I said. "I'm sad. I'm also still not paying." Silence, then a breath. "You always were good with numbers," he said, almost soft. "We're bad with them." "That's true," I said. "Can you look at ours?" he asked. Not to pay to look. I sat up. "Yes," I said. "I'll look. I won't pay." "Fine," he said. Saturday. Saturday at their dining table. I brought a legal pad and 3 colors of highlighters because that's how I move. I made 3 columns. Needs nice. Not now. I wrote rent in big letters at the top. I put Sweet 16 ballroom under not now. Mom glared. I left it there, left it. I wrote Maya's dress under nice, with a dollar amount that wouldn't break anyone. I wrote sheet cake under nice and underlined it once. I wrote DJ from cousin's friend under not now. I wrote park permit plus potluck under needs nice compromise. Dad resisted, then stopped resisting when I showed him how much interest he'd paid last year on credit cards. Mom cried when I circled the number. I passed her a tissue and kept the pen moving because that's the only way anything ever changes. Bella came in with a Pinterest board, dressed up as a phone. "Balloon arch?" she asked. "Not unless you blow them up yourself," I said. She made the face of a person who has never blown up 20 balloons and thought she might pass out halfway through. "I can do that," she said, defiant. "I'll get Maya to help." "Good," I said. "Teach her to price things." When I left, the ballroom was out, the park was in the cake. Budget was normal, and everyone was mad at me in a way that felt familiar but smaller. I got in my car and sat with the engine off. I wasn't elated, I was level. There's a difference between winning and not losing. The next week, the calls slowed. The text cooled. A new silence moved in. Not exile, space. I went running 3 mornings in a row, and didn't take my phone. I bought a plant and promised not to kill it. I got coffee with a friend who said, "You look like you slept." I had. The party plan became a backyard with borrowed lights. Bella found a neighbor with a smoker who agreed to handle meat for a case of soda and $100. Maya chose a simple dress that made her look like herself. Sweet, a little shy, a little taller than the last time she hugged me. She hugged me when I dropped off folding chairs. She whispered, "Thanks for the college thing." I whispered, "Thanks for being you." On the day of the party, I showed up with ice and a folding table and left my wallet in the glove compartment because I'm done leaving it on the table as tribute. Dad stood by the grill like a general. Mom fussed with fairy lights that didn't work until I fixed them and said, "You're still our fixer." I said, "I fix lights, not budgets." She nodded. Fair. Bella avoided me at first, then brought me a plastic cup of lemonade like a white flag. "No chandeliers," she said, laughing without joy. "It's beautiful," I said. And it was. People were happy. Maya was glowing. The backyard looked like a real life you could afford. The $700 cake, it became a sheet cake from a bakery that printed a watercolor version of one of Maya's drawings on top. It tasted like vanilla in a beginning. Later, Dad pulled me aside. He looked like he wanted to say something that didn't fit in his mouth. "You're a good man," he said abruptly. "Thanks," I said. He grunted. "Don't expect poetry. Wouldn't dream of it," I said. When the music ended and the folding chairs clicked closed, I took my plant-based leftovers. Yes, Bella. And my folded table and went home to my quiet starch-smelling apartment. I put the plant on the windowsill, the leftovers in labeled containers, and the table in the closet. I stood in the center of the room and felt not triumphant, just steady. I opened my desk drawer and looked at the printed letter with the words I'd sent after the ballroom text. I ran my finger over. This isn't about revenge. This is about closure. Instead of adrenaline, I felt something like a hum, like a circuit that finally matches the breaker. 2 months in family chat, no money talk, type loan, we stop. Maya texts chemistry. I send lemonade math and add $25 to her $529. Dad calls on Sundays for football. If he slips, I say, "Not my topic." Mom sends soup pics. Too much salt? Add a potato. Bella texts, "Got extra shifts. Proud of you." My rule: I won't buy love with loans or cosign denial. I'll fund things that build a life. Books, lessons, working lights. This isn't revenge, it's closure. A labeled panel backyard bulbs a cake we could afford, and my wallet staying in the glove box while I still belong.